In this short Python programming techniques video, we're just going to revise how to use lists or arrays, as you may know it, to create a receipt text file in Python. So we're going to use lists, text files, and escape characters to make this look like a real receipt. So I've already made 3 lists in my program to save some time. I've got a list called item, a list called quantity, and a list called price, and each of these lists has 3 items in it. But remember, Python counts from 0, so item 0 in the item list is Coke, 1 is cheese, 2 is cake. So item 0 in quantity is 3, item 1 in quantity is 1, and item 2 is 5. And I've done that again here. And the way I've done that is so that Coke and 3 and 9.99 all correspond to each other. So I've bought some Coke, I've got 3 Cokes, and there's £9.99 in total. I've got some cheese, I've got 1 brick of cheese, and it's £3.99. And I've got cake, I've got 5 cakes, and they cost me £9.99. So how do you make that into a receipt using the inefficient method? Very simply, we create a file object, my file, and we say equals open, give it a file name. So receipt is probably the best file name you could have had for this. So .txt, comma, and we need write permissions because this file does not exist and we are going to create it and add to it. So we need write permissions. Then I'm going to say my file .write and the bracket. In this bracket, I'm going to give the first line in this text file really needs to be the column headings. So I'm just going to write in item like that, space quantity, space price, and so on. Then finally my file.close just to test it. So if we press F5, run it, it's giving me the chevrons to confirm it's okay. So if we open that, that is the text file it has created. Not particularly useful at the moment in that it didn't put any of the items in, obviously, but if I had an item that was longer than 4 letters, that's going to spill over into the quantity column and then everything will be misaligned. So we need to do something about that. Let's go back to our program. This is where escape characters can help us. Let's get rid of some of these spaces like that. Now, an escape character in Python is where you can put in some hidden characters to make Python automatically do some clever things. For example, if you put in \t, that means write the word item, then put a tab space in, as if you've pressed tab in your notepad, and then continue the string here. So I'm going to deliberately put 2 tab spaces in to space it out really nicely. \t. Let's run it this time and see what it looks like. There's the chevrons, open the file, and this time we've spaced it out much more. And I haven't had to press spacebar repeatedly to do that. And now I know exactly how far apart these are, so I can line things up with this later. So that's worked nicely. Now then, the next thing I'm going to want is to underline the column headings. So I'm going to say my file.write, and this is a bit of trial and error. Let's put in a load of dashes. Something along those lines probably. F5. Fine, it ran. Let's have a look. Okay, so there's my problem. The lines are there, but it's on the same line as the column headings, which is not what we wanted. So we need another escape character, and that is a \n, which means new line. So I'm going to put in a \n after the word price, so that then this will appear underneath on a new line, because this \n means this line is finished. F5, okay, let's run it. This time that looks a lot better already. Okay, so let's just quickly add in the items to this receipt and then we're done. Let's arrow across so you can see the whole program. There we go. Right, so let's move the myfile.close line down a little bit. We just need to add in our items. So we need one last line, myfile.write, again in our brackets. And what I'm going to do this time is, first of all, I want in the item list, and I want the first one in the item list, which we know is item 0. So I'm going to say item 0, like that. Then, to line this up correctly, after it said Coke, I want it to do 2 tab spaces so that the quantity bit then lines up with the quantity column heading. So I'm going to add in \t. Plus, the next thing I want is item 0 of quantity. So I'm going to want in item 0, which on this occasion is 3. Again, we need the \t. So let's put that in. Got it. And then finally, we need price item 0 as well, which on this example is £9.99. Right, what I'm going to do here now is do one last plus and then a \n. So that means if I write anything else to this file after that, it will automatically start on the next line. So let's test that. I'm pretty sure we're going to get an error message. Let's have a look. We've got an error message. We can't convert an int object to a string. That is because if you look carefully, in the quantity list, we've got integers saved in there. That's a 3, that's a 1, that's a 5, and we haven't got speech marks around them, so we know they're integers. And in the price list, we've got some floats here, or real numbers, as you may know as a data type, because they're decimal points. No speech marks. So as we know, you can't print a sentence or a string that's combined a string there, a string here, then an integer, then a string, and then a float and a string. We need to convert these two things to a string, so let's quickly do that. str bracket, and then bracket, and then let's go to the price. We need to convert that str, and we go after the price. We need to put that there. So let's run it this time. Ran it this time, and we get this. We still got an issue, so we've got it lined up nicely. That looks very good, but it's just not gone on the next line. So somewhere we need to add another \n, and that's clearly after the dashes, because it's put this line next to this one. So we didn't tell it that that was the end of the line, \n. Last occasion, we run it, we have a look at the file, and there we go. So one last problem I've got, and this often happens with tabs, that this one hasn't quite lined up. Now that's because the word quantity is actually longer than, like significantly longer than the 3. So 2 tabs from there takes you here, but 2 tabs from here takes you right over there. So you have to play around with \t's. It's a bit of trial and error. So I'm going to remove one of the \t's from the top here so that price is lined up correctly. So let's take one of those out. Let's run it once more. And let's have a look. There we go, that's much better. Now, it's much easier just to add the rest of the items in. If we zoom this out slightly so you can see exactly what's going on. Let's zoom out to 14. Now, if we add, copy this line, there, copy, and paste, this last one, we just want item 1 and item 2. We want quantity, 1 and quantity 2, and we want price 1 and price 2. Let's run that. Last one. There you go. You're getting yourself a nicely formatted receipt. And tune into the other video to show you how you do this using a for loop instead with a much more efficient method.